Hey everyone, today we're checking in on the Eglinton Crosstown Light Rail project spanning almost 30 kilometers across Toronto. The project is split into two, with the original 19-kilometer Eglinton Crosstown project between Mount Dennis at Weston Road to Kennedy Station in Scarborough, and the western extension of Line 5 Eglinton from Weston Road to Renforth Drive and Pearson Airport further down the line. For today's video, we'll be starting with major milestones of the Crosstown's West Extension, namely the completion of tunneling, before taking a look at what's changed and what hasn't changed on the first phase of the Eglinton Crosstown project, which has been under construction since 2011. The Eglinton Crosstown West Extension brings Line 5 to the western edge of Toronto, with 7 stations along a fully grade-separated corridor. The planned extra 5 kilometers, stretching from Renforth Station to Pearson Airport, hasn't made any public progress, although it's possible that some planning has gone on behind the scenes, as the airport extension involves coordination between the province, federal government, and Greater Toronto Airports Authority. Pre-COVID, plans called for a new transit hub at Pearson Airport, which would be served by Line 5, but since then, no developments have been made. It's worth noting that Renforth Station connects to the Mississauga Transitway, which serves several bus routes to Pearson Airport, and the Union Pearson Express rail line connects to Line 5 at Mount Dennis Station. Renforth Station will be the western terminus of the line for the foreseeable future and was the launch site for both tunnel boring machines Rexy and Rennie. The site is still being used to bring in materials that will run through the tunnels, such as pipes, wiring, and in the future, the tracks themselves. Once tunnel construction is fully completed, the TBM launch shaft will serve as a trench station. Between Martin Grove Station and Royal York Station, construction of headwalls, the support structure for the future station boxes, and emergency exit shafts was completed a long time ago, and with tunneling complete, the previous construction sites have been cleaned up, covered with sod, and in some locations, like at Islington, fencing has also come down. Construction of the stations has mostly stopped for now because the request for proposals, or RFP, for the station's rail and systems contract was only released in late September, so there's currently no team contracted to build the stations. Just west of Scarlett Road is the under-construction tunnel portal, which will bring trains from the tunnel to an elevated guideway for 2 stations. The TBM reached a site at the end of the spring after roughly 2 years of tunneling. With tunneling complete, the TBMs were disabled and construction of the tunnel portal is well underway. Concrete pours and structural support for the portal have taken place. Between Scarlett and Jane, tree clearing has begun on the north side of Eglinton, where the elevated guideway will be built. East of Jane, construction at the next tunnel portal is taking place. This tunnel will span a short section from just east of Jane, only a few blocks until the existing Line 5 tracks at Mount Dennis Station. Since the tunnel will be so short and there isn't much space to launch and extract TBMs, a sequential tunneling technique will be used, which will involve digging a small section of tunnel with an excavator before lining the section with concrete and continuing forward. The final bits of construction for the West Extension includes work at the recently completed Mount Dennis Station outside of the western entrance. The plaza, which was built as part of Phase 1 of the Crosstown, has started to be taken apart for more major construction and utility relocation taking place soon. The bidirectional multi-use path on the north side of Eglinton, which was built next to the existing Phase 1 of the Crosstown, is being closed, and a new path on the south side has been built as a replacement. New station designs, including renderings for the western extension, have been released for all stations, tunnel portals, and the elevated guideways. The stations share a similar design language to Phase 1 of the Crosstown, although with a bit more of a boxy shape, and unlike the first phase of Line 5, most stations on the western extension will only have 1 entrance building instead of the up to 3 or 4 that some stations on Line 5 have. The current phase of the Crosstown, which began construction in 2011, now looks largely complete, although there is no publicly available timeline for the project. Originally proposed to open in the fall of 2020, the opening target has been moved back by a year a couple of times, and the new information from Metrolinx is that an opening will be announced 3 months beforehand. Most major construction for the project has been completed. Some stations like Keelsdale and Science Centre were completed in 2022, while others like Eglinton Station have only recently been finished. At Caledonia Station, all visible construction has been finished, but the GO Station has not started construction yet, but it was originally planned to open alongside the crosstown, providing a connection with the Barrie GO line. Between Black Creek Drive and Chaplin is an unconnected bike corridor. Crosslinks, the builders of the crosstown Phase 1, built roughly 100 meters of raised bike lanes outside of the station entrances, but after those 100 meters, cyclists have to re-merge with vehicular traffic. Cedar Vale Station, currently named Eglinton West, is one of the largest and most complex stations on the line, with a connection to Line 1 and 3 new entrance buildings being built. Station construction at street level is complete, although construction of the bus terminal will be taking place soon. Looking into the skylights, there's still scaffolding inside the Line 5 concourse, suggesting that some interior details have not been completed yet. Chaplin Station has been completed for a while, but the staircase connecting the K. Gardiner Trail to Eglinton, next to Chaplin Station's entrance, has been opened. East of Chaplin, separated bike lanes have been built by the City of Toronto using concrete barriers and flex post. Raised bus islands have been built to provide a better waiting area for bus riders, and while it's great that bike lanes are finally being built along all of Eglinton, it's disappointing they weren't built as more of a permanent infrastructure when Eglinton was repaved after a major construction. These new bike lanes continue until Yonge Street. Eglinton Station was the most complex station on the project, with an interchange with Line 1 at one of the oldest subway stations in the city. Building the station below the busy intersection and connecting to the existing subway platforms proved to be more challenging than expected, which led to delays, but most work has wrapped up and the intersection has been reopened. Inside the subway station, the connection points between the Line 5 and Line 1 platforms also seems largely complete. 4 stations east at Leslie is Sunnybrook Park Station, the first surface stop on the line. Unlike the staircase at Chaplin, this connection between Eglinton and E.T. Seaton Park is still closed years after its installation. On the north side of Eglinton, a new staircase and ramp have been opened, which connect to the same park and Sunnybrook Park. Early works for the Ontario Line have started at Science Centre Station, which will need a new name now that the Science Centre has closed. The Ontario Line platforms will be above the bus terminal at Science Centre Station, while the Line 5 platforms will be a couple stories down. Along the 5-kilometer surface section of the project between Aga Khan Park and Museum Station and Ion View, Line 5 will operate much differently from the rest of the route. Testing has been ongoing along this section for more than 3 years. In that time, all of the stops and trackage has been completed, including the rebuilding of Sloane Station due to an uneven platform which was pooling with water. While this section will definitely be faster than the existing bus or driving during rush hour, when traffic is lighter, Line 5 will likely be significantly slower. Instead of ensuring Line 5 trains, which will carry a max of roughly 400 people, never get stuck at red lights, the city is only giving the line partial signal priority. This means that if a light is green and an LRV is approaching, the light will be held green for an extra 10 seconds. With transit signals already activated, they all currently turn red 10 seconds before the regular traffic lights turn red, so I'm interested to see if the extra 10 seconds will even have an impact on the actual light cycle. Due to the close stop spacing and red lights, the LRVs which we're testing when I was filming were only traveling at the same speed as my e-bike, about 30 kilometers an hour, and getting passed by lots of cars. Hopefully the slow testing speeds are due to TTC staff currently being trained on how to operate the LRVs, and we're being more cautious with vehicle operations and not a reflection of what revenue service will actually look like. Finally, the last station at the eastern terminus is Kennedy, which connects to the Line 2 Bloor-Danforth subway and the Stouffville GO line. Line 3 Scarborough also used to connect to Kennedy Station until its closure last year. Bus lanes and several bus routes serve Kennedy and provide frequent bus service to Scarborough Town Centre, U of T Scarborough, and more. Construction here has also wrapped up. Eglinton is becoming one of Toronto's biggest and busiest east-west transit corridors and will likely see much more growth than the low-density neighborhoods that Line 2 passes through. The Eglinton Crosstown has been underway for more than a decade now, and the extensions will take another decade, but progress is being made with the TTC being trained on Phase 1. Hopefully there will be more transparency and updates from Metrolinx and the province on the project, as it's felt completed for a couple years now. Thanks for watching.